Hey there, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Sunday. Once again, reminder, there is no football. So we're stuck with what we got. We finished 11-11 yesterday in our locks. We're hoping to get a winning record today as we continue to strive for some progress here. So we have NCAA men's once again going at it. We got some college. We'll have even some NASCAR and some college baseball bets. So make sure you guys like, subscribe, follow. Let's get this thing going. Oh, happy days, happy days. What's up, Derpy? Daytona, yep. Hey, yeah, I got some NASCAR picks here from a few buddies that follow it really closely, so we'll drop those here before too long, maybe towards the end of the show here. We're waiting on Scott here, but we got a little recap here. Like I said, by the way, my name's Tanner Dawson of the Rec Room Sports Hub. Joining me is Alan Perales. Alan, how you doing, buddy?
I hate LSU. I hate LSU. I think it's official now. I hate LSU.
Look, there were some games that we had. I felt banked going into 2 minutes, and then it just slipped out of our hands. So, by the way, I don't know if you guys tailed it or not, but my William and Mary's bet did hit yesterday, like I told you on that one. So I thought
the Scott's Hawaii game bet hit.
It's all good. What did you say?
The Scott's Hawaii game bet hit.
Yeah, you did. It did. It was way under. Way under. So I had UC Irvine at the -4.5, and they killed it. So
I got two. I got two though. I'm happy about that. So
you did had two. I went 4-4. Scott ended up being the winner of the day, for sure. So I know his Penn State and Georgetown Butler total bet went lost for him, but he hit on a few others, so that helped in the end. He went. What did he go? What did I say? He went 4-2. So that's a good day. That's a good day. I personally had a good bet. If you guys aren't tailing me or following me on @tan12489 on my bets there, you're missing out here. We had a really good day yesterday, so hopefully we can continue to keep that going. I'll post some bets here shortly on my Twitter, I'm sure, afterwards. So, but hey, you lost. Your team lost yesterday, Alan. My team looked disgraceful yesterday. Once again, UConn
again
loses again. Yeah, talk about disgraceful. Holy cow! Like, how bad is that? Illinois choking out on their game. What else happened, man? There was a lot going on for what went down for big games here that wasn't expected, Oh, Purdue at home. Mm-hmm. But Wisconsin also shooting lights out from 3. That's one thing. Nothing you can do there. Ole Miss choking it out 0-2. What the hell is going on? Scott, what's up, dude?
6 inches of snow later.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm getting that in 2 days.
I can't wait. I can't wait for Tuesday.
Well, now it's like 1 to 3 inches now, so it's like.
Oh, that means it's shifting north.
If you watch the wrestling show, I wanted to let Alan serve his penance first before he.
Oh, I've already vented out my frustrations this week.
Hey, I had a good end of the night.
Hey, you got your whole. I was asking. I was like, did he get his Hawaii bet? And I was like, he's like, yep.
It was 30. It was 35-22 at halftime. I was like, oh, this is hitting. So
Yeah, no, you hit it. The Hawaii total. I hit the UC Irvine -4.5.
San Diego State hit. Yeah,
San Diego State. Yep,
hit.
definitely.
111 points, dude. That was the total on that game. Like, are you kidding me?
No sweat. No sweat.
No sweat at all.
I got both San Diego State and Michigan State. So
you ended off on a good day too. You had a good day too. So
yeah, he
started
finished
out 0-4, but we finished strong at the end.
That's right.
And
you got a couple dubs.
The baseball parlays hit as well. So I was happy
Yes.
with that. I was happy with that.
So guess what, Scott? I got a baseball one today too. So
really? Okay.
Yeah, you'll never guess.
I'm excited about that.
Look, we finished 11-11, like I said. Now Scott's on, we can break down the records. So updated records for NCAA men's right now: 8-13 for myself, 5-13 for Allen, 7-8 for Scott. Good comeback day for him. Puts us at 23-34. Total records for overall in our locks: 26-28 for myself, 16-27 for Allen, 22-23 for Scott, 13-7 for Joe. Puts us at 77-85. We're coming back. We're coming back here, and we're gonna get it straightened up here. This is what that whole records thing's all about. So, but hey guys, we got some games today. We got some games all over the place. Believe it or not, after 141 games, whatever it was, it's massive NCAA men's slate. There's still more games to be played today. In the college basketball ranks for men's. We got some great women's matchups today. We got some NASCAR. I know dropping today as well. I ended up picking up there. So, and we got some college baseball going in down. Big slate of college baseball today. So, I guess
nobody you.
Hey, I already got them hammered. So
let's
go ahead and drop in. Right. Let's go ahead and drop in. Let's talk about it here already. We can drop into the NCAA men's slate because there is some games out there, believe it or not, today, guys, yet that are bettable here. We have 3 going on right now. I know I have money on at least for 2 of them. Sienna Saints, Sacred Heart, going at it right now. It's 9-5 there. Memphis and Wichita State, 9-10 Wichita State right now. Florida Atlantic and the Temple Owls, 8-7 there. Coming up the noon hour Central, Michigan and Ohio State's being going there. Can Cleveland State rebound against Youngstown State today? Of course, we already talked about Nobody You going against Green Bay, which I do have money on. Creighton St. John's at the 2:00 hour today for big games. Nebraska, Northwestern, Nebraska on the road. We'll probably get into that a little bit. South Florida, UAB. South Florida has actually been looking decent. So we'll have to look at that one a little closer. Iowa, Maryland, UNI, Murray State, Rutgers, Oregon, if you really wanted to bet that, Louisville, and Notre Dame here in the evening slate here. So good round games of NCAA men's here. I will state real quick here that I do have money line on Sienna's money line. And that was plus 105 last night. And then Memphis at -8.5 for these 3 games that have already kicked off. If you guys are interested in those. But guys, let's talk about Sunday here and just in general. What are we liking here? What do we want to talk about? What do we want to discuss?
But by the way, people, me and Tanner did not talk about today's slate. I also have Sienna on the money line. So
there you go.
I think the big game is Bradley Drake today.
I totally skipped over it. My bad.
Yeah,
my bad.
Drake and Bradley are the top 2 teams, top 2 mid-major teams possibly in the country. Drake is 23-3, I think. Bradley is right around that as well.
20.
I took the over.
Drake's 23-2.
Yeah, Drake's 23-2, Bradley's 20-6.
I did not want to touch a side, so the total was 129.5. I took the over on that. I can't imagine both teams. They played a slow down game last time. I can't imagine it happens again. So I like the Bradley Drake over. Side I'm staying away from because either team could win. It's a 50-50 toss-up for me. So
yeah,
I
I don't mind this matchup. I did not bet it personally at all, just because last matchup was an under. This matchup should be an over. These guys are 5-5. Bradley's 5-5 on the over under last 10, 15-10 over under for the season. Drake here is 6-4 the last 10 on the over under. They are 10-13 on the over under for the season here. 12-1 though for Drake at home. 6-2 away record for Bradley. If we take a look at KenPom, because KenPom always like to see their projections, see how they're lining up. Right now, they got this a 68-61 Drake win. So that would put you at what, 129?
Yeah.
Yeah,
right
129.
Right on it.
Right on it. Right on it.
Right on it.
And if I look at D Ratings website as well, another one I just kind of like follow to see if my mindset's where I'm thinking all the time. Holy cow, this is the 17th. I do not want the 17th, guys. There it is. They have this at a 66-69. Nice.
Nice, and I like that total. Nice.
Yeah. So there's that one as well in that rank. So like an over is if you're beating right at it for simulations wise and data, generally the over is where you're going to go for this one here.
Yeah.
Any thoughts here on this one, Alan?
I like that under too. I think it's going to be a really close game.
Under or over?
Or that over. But I think it's going to be a close game, but I think both teams are going to come out firing, like Scott said. So it should be a fun game today. It really should be.
I also heard a lot of talk yesterday on Drake talking about tournament time, and the bubble is not as strong this year. So Drake and Bradley, if they make their championship game conference, they probably both will get into the tournament. Both should get in. They're really good teams. I have Drake as a 10 seed. I have Bradley in the play-in tournament in Dayton in the first Tuesday. So I like both teams. I think both teams can get in without winning their conference tournament. So
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it there. What else we like, guys? What else we like today?
I took the over on the Temple Florida Atlantic game because if you look at this is not your grandfather's Temple John Chaney led teams where they just play defense. This is a team that can score. They play a lot of overs. So I got it at 158.5 last night. I think it was at 162.5 this morning, something like that, something crazy like that. I'm comfortable in the 150s with this game because Temple can't play defense and they score and they can shoot the threes. So, that's a trend for coming down the stretch here is Temple look at the overs on their games because they've been hitting it a lot. So.
What about you, Alan?
I mean, it's already 12-11, so Scott's theory there on the overs is looking pretty good. It's only 13 minutes left to go in the first quarter, so it's already starting to be kind of a score fest. So looks that way, and it's going to be interesting to see how some of these lower level schools, whether they're mid-majors, lower Division I's, what have you, how they kind of shape up the rest of this tournament. Because we kind of know who the top teams are now, who could potentially get those top seeds. It's filling out the rest of the brackets and, which one of these teams could be sleeper teams come tournament time.
That's fair. Yeah, I think that's kind of where we're turning that focus attention is now, resume, I guess, in the end, right? So that's a big key. That's a good point. I haven't thought about resume stuff just quite yet, but that is probably the appropriate way to look at it. So, look, I didn't bet the Temple game. When I looked at it, there was something. I can't remember what it was. There was something with the Florida Atlantic Temple. Maybe it could have been a road record. I can't remember what it was exactly. Sorry, guys. But it was avoidable for me. That was not one I was betting. I do have a lot of bets today. I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I did 9 games today just on the NCAA men's slate alone, and it's like I said, a short slate. I think I still have it up. Do I? We talked about Temple here. That's going on right now. And that's refresh my screen. A 12-11 Florida Atlantic lead right now. The game that I focused in here in this morning, 11 o'clock slate, was Memphis and Siena. And the Memphis one, right now they're up by 2. And that's just, honestly, that's just more record-wise for me. They're 8-1 away. Wichita State's 9-4 at home. The last 10 against the spread for either team, it's pretty, abysmal. 3-7 for Memphis, 3-6-1. But in the end, I think we have to know who the better team is. And quite frankly, a 61-53 matchup here a couple weeks ago there for Memphis. I just felt like this line being where it was at the 8.5 mark felt just more money to me in that state. I mean, it's just hard to avoid it in the end. So I think Memphis is a team, though, that needs to crush these guys because we've seen them win. We've seen them play against big dogs early, and they look good when they needed to. But now they're playing down a level of competition, and, well, sometimes it drops. So I think I like where I got Memphis at here at 8.5. You could probably, if it stays close here, I might even double down and grab them at a smaller line. So,
yeah, if they're double digits, I don't even look at them. If they favorite double digits, I don't look at them because I don't think they're covering it when they're a double digit favorite. I think more 7.5 to 9.5 is the range I'm comfortable with Memphis. They're running that conference right now. They're going to win that conference regular season. They're probably going to get in automatically through the conference tournament. So, again, they're just, if you want to play them, if you feel comfortable where the spread is, that's where you go. So,
yeah, no, that's fair. I think that's a good point there in that range. Anything on Memphis game, Alan?
Yeah, I mean, we should see a dominant win today from Memphis. We really should. This is the best team in the American Conference. This is a team that's probably going to win their conference, get that bid. I'm more intrigued. I know they're probably not looking ahead. I want to know how good is Memphis going to be come tournament time, because I think if they play up to their potential, I think this team could be a dark horse team in this year's tournament. Not saying that they'll have a good chance to win it, but I think they could be one of those dark horse teams that the 4 or 5 seeds that could, kind of, give those top teams a challenge.
Yeah, they're in the 8-9 for me. They're in the 8-9 for me because I just think when you look at conference and you look at strength of schedule and you look at everything that goes with Memphis, the strength of the conference schedule, it's just not a strong conference. That's the whole problem. So they can't be on the 5-6 line. They got to be more of a 7 through 10 team.
I think they're between the 6 and 9 range because it's a super nice spot. So that's where I have them in that range.
Yeah.
Let's keep it going here. We do got some noon games to talk about. Michigan State, Ohio State being one. Once again, a crazy rivalry there, as we all know here. Let me pull them up here. Matchup. There we go. We got -2, 2.5, -2, 2.5. Depends where you're looking at. I got -1.5 on DK right now for Ohio State. But tail of the tape here, 19-5 Michigan, 15-10 Ohio State, 11-13-0 for Michigan, 15-10 against these are all against the spreads there for Ohio State, 13-11 on the over-under for Michigan, 12-13 on the over-under for Ohio State, 5-2 road record for Michigan, a 10-4 home record. If we look at, they have not played this year, by the way, so just so everybody knows that they have not played this year. Michigan is 8-2 the last 10, but they are 2-8 on covering, and that includes not covering their last. Holy cow! Their literally last 8 games: Purdue, Indiana, Oregon, Rutgers, Penn State, Purdue again, Northwestern, Minnesota. The last time they covered was January 12th against Washington and January 7th against UCLA. Washington, they were 14.5 point favorites, and they covered. In UCLA, they were 2.5 point dogs. Ended up winning that game. Ohio State, on the other hand, 5-5 record. their last 10, 6-4 against the spread. Really every other game, quite frankly, to me, it looks like they are winning. They have covered their last 3. So they covered their last 3 home games. That would be Washington, Maryland, and Iowa. They were 7-point favorites in Iowa, 1.5-point favorites in Maryland, and 11-point favorites in Washington. Have not covered on the road for a little bit. Last time they did not cover at home was Indiana. They were 8-point favorites and lost that game. And then Oregon back on the 9th, they were 2.5-point favorites and lost that game. So, look, I think this game here, considering the line's at 1.5 now at DK, I really do want to lean towards Ohio State just being at home. But we've seen Michigan, they've had a decent test these last 4 games, right? Rutgers, an Oregon game they won, at Indiana, which was very close. A much improved Indiana from what we've seen at the start of the Big Ten play. And then Purdue at home as well. Look, they may not be covered, but they're winning games. And these are small lines, which is what we like. So do we go the route?
If you look at the last 5 games, Tanner, all of Michigan's wins, all 5 of them have been 1 or 2 possession wins. You have 3 points, 4 points, 3 points, 4 points, or less. It's going to be a close game today. I do like Michigan because they have proven that they can go into a hostile environment and win a big game like this. I don't think Ohio State has done that quite yet. I think, although Ohio State, I think, needs to win more because they're on that tournament bubble, so to speak. I think if Michigan wins today, you could see them maybe jump up to a higher seed. Because they've been so good in these close games. I like the road test, like you mentioned. That's actually one of my locks. Not to spoil anything, but one of my locks is I actually like Michigan on the money line today. So I think Michigan's going to get the job done on the road because they've proven the last 5 weeks they are battle tested in close games. So I like that from them today.
Alan, all great points, awesome point, excellent points. I like Ohio State in this position. Michigan just beat Purdue. They lost to them by 30 points earlier in the season. They put all their focus on that Purdue game. The come down is going to be tough, I think. Michigan has played too many close games. Usually when you play so many close games in a row, it bites you. It comes back and it bites you in a big way. I think Ohio State's in a great spot to win today, and I think they know they have to win to have any chance of getting a higher seed conference tournament and getting in the NCAA tournament. So I like Ohio State here. Ohio State's had some nice wins, and as Tanner said, Michigan's 2-8 in the last 10 against the spread. I know the spread is 1.5, but I still think that it's going to
essentially for this game here, if I was to go out and bet it, okay, I'd either take the -1.5 for Ohio State, but if I think Memphis has a chance to cover 2.5, because some lines have 2.5 right now still. Yeah, I'm taking the money line from Michigan. Essentially, it's you win it or you don't.
Right. Yeah. Because right now on ESPN they have the +1.5 as even for Michigan today, and you could actually do more by betting the money line. So that's why I would pick the money line if that's the case.
If the game is in Michigan or Ohio State.
Ohio State.
If the game's in Michigan, I'm all in on Michigan. I think at home it's a difference. But going to Ohio State, rivalry game, throw out the records in this case. The records don't mean anything. It's what you've done in your last handful of games that I look at. And Michigan has just barely squeaked by in the last 5 games. So it's going to be a one-possession game, you know it, and it could go either way. I just feel like Ohio State's in a better spot because of what Michigan just came off of, rather than
I think that's also why Vegas has them favored, because they realize that too. Michigan's coming off that big win against Purdue, which is why they have them the way it is.
And to me, Michigan's solidly in the tournament. They're solidly in that Purdue win put them solidly in.
They swept
so
Purdue
even if
this
they
year.
lose today, it's not going to.
Right now, they're the top team in the Big Ten record wise. Not like overall record wise, but conference record wise, they are the top team in the Big Ten.
Well, yeah, they've had a great year. full credit to them. But sometimes you got.
If we look at Ken Palm has this a 76-74 Ohio State win today. And this is the top game for them for the day as well. If we look here at D ratings, it's a 78.3 to 78.3 game. So this is dead even on this one. Again, if you're betting it, I encourage you to either go the Ohio State spread or the Michigan money line. I would not go the 1.5 or 2.5 points on the Michigan side for that, because it doesn't make sense for me. It's either they win or they don't.
This game screams live in game.
Doesn't it?
Whoever gets up by 5 or 6, put a bet in on the other team, because the other team is gonna close the gap. So
I agree. I agree on that here.
But yeah, I'm by the way, Tanner, I am gonna lock that in. Michigan money line. So
you are taking the Michigan money line. You know what? I'm gonna throw it down before we get too far away for you,
because I know it's gonna start at noon, and I won't have a chance to say it otherwise if we go too.
No,
hey, Alan needs all the wins he can get right now. All right,
exactly.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Remember, Scott, the last time we picked against each other, I won. So
that's right.
But the difference is Ohio State's not a lock it in for me. So
yeah, so Michigan's a lock in.
As long as you're not picking LSU, that's fine.
Are they playing Oklahoma?
I have no clue.
There you go.
I hope to God not.
Guys, I'll let you kind of talk about the 1:00 slate here too as well, because we do got some good games there to bet on. Cleveland State coming off that loss. We have Merrimack that actually has been a force lately. Manhattan, Quinnipiac, South Dakota. Oh, South Dakota in-state rivalry going on. We already talked about Drake and Bradley. But what do you guys kind of got there for 1:00? I gotta go grab that stuff from the door real quick.
All right. Again, Bradley Drake is the game for me. I like the over. If you're gonna parlay it, you might want to put the over under down a little bit, like 2 or 3 points. Buy yourself 2 or 3 points. It's not going to dent you on the parlay that much. Might be like 20 cents either way. So that's the game for me. A lot of these other games, Cleveland State coming off a disappointing loss. I think they bounce back against Youngstown State. It's 3.5. They're at home. I like them a lot today. I think Cleveland State can win. Other than that, these are all small schools that I don't even, to be honest with you, I know
These
a little bit about
best bets, dude.
No, I agree, but they're not games I've delved into a lot. So I'm looking at Cleveland State today, getting back on track. I think disappointing loss. I think they bounce back in a big way. They're at home, Youngstown State. I'm not sold on Youngstown State, so.
All right. And you guys talked to this one does not have it. No, it does not. Okay. But no, I think Cleveland State for this one is my big matchup here. I did dabble. Did I dabble? No, I did not. I did not.
I might put something
Manhattan. I did dabble on Manhattan.
I might dabble in on Iona over Quinnipiac.
See,
plus 6.5.
I looked at that game. I think I still have it up. Yeah.
I'm not really sold on Quinnipiac. I know they've had a good year, but Iona's they're a good program.
The only thing that gets me here is that Quinnipiac is 5-6 on the road, Iona is 5-6 on the road, but 9-2 at home for Quinnipiac in this game. I don't see that I dabbled on. I was looking at Quinnipiac. I thought the line was too high, because if I look at it here, 8-2 for the last 10 for Quinnipiac, but at home they've only covered 3 times in the last 10. Well, in the last 10 games, but at home only 3 times. They've had some games where it's just too close, but Iona too. They've covered 6 out of the last 4, and on the road they're actually pretty decent coverage wise. They swept Ryder. They got Ryder there, but like just trying to compare games here, there just wasn't enough to push me that direction. Doesn't mean it can't happen live. if it's a close game, because if it does get down closer to that 3.5 mark live game, I would take Quinnipiac at that range, but I think 6.5 was just too rich for my blood.
It's way too many points. It's way too many points. I think these teams are a little bit more evenly matched than even the bookmakers are giving it. So,
right, yeah. So we can keep it rolling here. 2:00 hour. Really, I mean the rest of the day, guys. I think Creighton and St. John's is another huge game that starts at the 2:00 Central Hour. I think that's gonna be a good game. Really, both teams need a win. St. John's just looked despicable against Villanova at Villanova. So now they're back home.
Both teams coming off of big losses.
Creighton lost to Marquette.
Creighton lost to UConn, and St. John's lost.
No, that's not a big loss. Villanova was worse by far.
Well, the way UConn's playing now and the way they got beat yesterday, I don't know.
Seton Hall beat UConn. How has this happened? But I think St. John's coming off the loss would be the way I go. I don't think Pitino's going to lose 2 straight, and they're playing at home in Madison Square Garden. I think.
Yeah. Plus, they already got beat on the road at Creighton too. So I think you got their revenge factor in it too.
They'll be dialed in completely today to beat Creighton. I think. So I think you see a big
probably
right there.
Yeah, I don't like the 6.5. I don't like the 6.5, but I think St. John's wins the game, not by 7. I think this is a 1-possession game again. I like Michigan, Ohio State. I can't see Creighton getting blown out.
I can't either.
If you want to sprinkle something on the Creighton money line, it's plus 225 right now in DraftKings. So
yeah, exactly right. And I don't know if I'm treating it the same way Ohio State, Michigan, but that's pretty close to it. Ken Palm has this 73-67 win for St. John's, and D Ratings has this a 76-71 win for St. John's as well. So they're anticipating this thing to be at least a 5-point ball game, and I don't think it's even going to be that. I think it's going to be a lot closer, especially going to the final minute.
I do too.
You know,
Creighton knows to win the Big East, they have to win today. They put everything into this basket today. We need to
St. John's is in the same boat. You know, you're at the top. Like you gotta win these. You gotta win today. You can't allow any closer gap.
Yeah, because if you win today, if you're St. John's, all you have to worry about is Marquette, and that's it.
Yeah,
because you basically got the head-to-head advantage over Creighton. Your UConn's a non-threat right now. You can win the regular season title. Basically, it's going to come down to that last game at the end of the year because you got to play Marquette last game of the year. So it's probably going to come down to that game for the Big East.
And where's the Big East tournament? Madison Square Garden. Where does St. John's play? Madison Square Garden. So they might be worth a sprinkle for Big East champions this year, St. John's.
It might. Just might. Get close to the tournament time. Another big game out here is Nebraska at Northwestern. And the only reason I know it's a 1.5 favorite for Nebraska. And sure, we could consider this an easy win, but have you seen this Nebraska team play on the road? It is not the same that when they play at home. It is not the same when they play at home.
They've had one impressive win on the road at Oregon. That's it.
Yes.
For the whole year. I can't remember another game that I could say.
Well, they beat Washington. They beat Oregon on the road. Yes, yeah. I'm aware of this stuff, guys. They lost to Wisconsin. They lost to Maryland. They lost to Purdue. You're covering the last 5 out of 5. You look at Northwestern here at home, though, and they're 11-3 at home, right? And they took care of business against USC. Sure, they barely lost to Wisconsin. Close game against Rutgers. They beat Indiana. They beat Maryland. They lost to Michigan State when Michigan State was really rolling. They're not covering games, but at a 1.5 spread, again, it's probably treated similar to the way Michigan Ohio State is, right? We're going to take that minus 1.5 on Nebraska, or we're going to take that plus 100 on Northwestern.
Yep.
It's and even from a breakdown, I just can't pick this game because I know what Nebraska has done on the road, and it'd be the one time they're like, oh yeah, never mind, we forgot that we can't play on the road.
That's right. That's exactly what it is. It is exactly what it is. Oh, we're at Northwestern. We're not supposed to win today. Oh,
yeah,
sorry,
my bad. Today. This is supposed to be the second most exciting game according to KenPom for the day here. KenPom has Northwestern winning 71-70, but yet on the other hand, D Ratings has Nebraska winning 73-72. So everything's tossed up. Nobody's agreeing. It's just one of the classic games where you just stay away in the matter. Like I'm not even live betting this thing because I don't trust that one team can keep a lead for more than 4 minutes.
Right. I'm not even in-game betting this game either. I might peek in on it, but because if you in-game live bet it, it can very easily go the other way really quickly. So
that's true.
Yeah.
Anything on that game, Alan?
No, not really. You might said it honestly.
This is one of the few games in the college basketball season that you just completely stay away from. Somebody may give you a reason why you're like, oh, that's nice.
I'm not even taking a total.
No.
Forget that.
No.
Not even taking a total. I guess Alan disappeared here. We'll get him back here in a minute. There he is. Knew we were gone. We knew you wouldn't be gone long. Nobody. Do we like Wright State today against Green Bay?
I love Wright State. Wright State beat Green Bay by 23 the first meeting they had.
They're 9.5-point favorites.
Listen, I understand Green Bay's lost all these games in a row. Eventually, they're going to win one, I think. I just don't think today's the day against Wright State. They just played Northern Kentucky and lost to Northern Kentucky.
Yeah.
I mean, Northern Kentucky's not very good. So those players have completely checked out on Doug Gottlieb. They just completely checked out on him. They just, they're an easy money maker. They're like the ATM machine, Green Bay. Just keep printing this money. So, yeah, I'm going Wright State. I took Wright State in a parlay with the South Carolina woman today, which we'll get to.
I took Wright State as well. So
in a few minutes. Yeah, mine
as well. But yeah,
they should win by double digits. I can't imagine that they lose to Green Bay today.
Right,
even close. So
nobody going at it here. What else, guys, on the NCAAM slate? Anything else we want to talk about?
Louisville's playing Notre Dame tonight. I like Louisville a lot. I think Louisville's one of the better teams in the eastern side of the country. So I like Louisville tonight to put a big number on Notre Dame. Notre Dame's not very good.
6, 11-13, 15-10 against the spread, 10-12-2 for Notre Dame. Last 10 games, 7-3 against the spread for Louisville, 4-6 against the spread. These are against the spread numbers here. Yep. Record-wise, though, 9-1 for Louisville, 4-6. I guess they do have some bad losses there. Looking at 7-2 away games for Louisville, 8-3 on the home side for Notre Dame for the year. I mean, 6.5. I guess, yeah, you could go that way. In that range. Let's see here. What's KenPom show? I didn't really look into this game too close here, but 77-71 win is what KenPom thinks right now for Louisville. And if we look here at D ratings, they got a 76-71 as well. So for Louisville, I mean, they're speaking the same language, Scott, that you are.
Yeah. The one thing I will say is, if you remember the Pitt Miami game yesterday, I said Pitt, I hope Notre Dame gets up early and they jump to a favorite in game, because I'll just double up on my bet with Louisville. I don't think Notre Dame can beat Louisville tonight. Louisville's pretty good. So great coach. First year in. Remember, Louisville was god awful last year. They've turned it around with the new coach. They're probably going to NCAA tournament. They're a very good team. They will give teams fits in the ACC this year. Fits in the tournament. So
they will. Yeah. I believe that too.
Yep.
How about you, Alan?
I actually like Notre Dame to cover. I don't think they're going to win. because they've done well at home covering against some of these tougher teams. Their last game was an overtime win against Scott's Boston College team on the road.
Easy.
But their last two home games, a 2-point loss to Virginia Tech, 3-point win against Georgia Tech. When they're at, like you said, Tanner, when they're at home, they can cover well. Well. They play much better at home. I think they're going to give Louisville a little bit of a scare today, but I think Louisville's going to win in the end.
I think that's maybe why I'm not betting this game is because of the whole road home factor.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's been the theme of the NCAA basketball so far these past couple months. It's if you're on the road, you haven't played the same as you normally would. So
we have an upset alert. Yeah. Wichita State is up 32-25 against Memphis right now as it's about to head into halftime.
-4.5 now on DK for Tigers. Oh, that's first half. I don't want that. Best available. It's still 7.5-point favorites.
It's not
Wichita State is leading right now 32-25.
See, like I said, on the road, you don't perform the same.
Yeah.
I'm still not concerned yet. So get at me with 8 minutes left in the game, and if Wichita State's still up, then we can have a discussion about concern.
Unless it's Kansas, of course.
Yeah, then you're just screwed. And you're just screwed. All right, guys, let's get in. Let's wrap this thing up here. We got a couple more sports to hit here before the hour. But let's go ahead and do our favorite segment of. Does it work? Did it work?
Yeah.
Yep.
There it is.
Yep.
I didn't get it the first time. Locking it in here. This is our best 3 to 5 bets here for the NCAA men's bets that we like here. And I know we got a lot of pressure on ourselves, right? So we're on the bounce back, okay? We're on the bounce back. So, Alan, since you already got a Michigan money line going, let's go ahead and get you going. Finish up.
All right. I like South Dakota State -5.5. Let's see what else. I'll go Creighton +6.5. I'll leave nobody you for Scott, so I won't touch that one.
You can pick it. We both can pick it. It's not.
Yeah,
not
you
like
both can pick it.
Yeah.
I mean,
you can duplicate.
I mean, I need a win, so I might as well take the free. I might as well take the free win. Yeah, give me Wright State.
Oh, now we said that. Now Wright State's not going to cover. Here we go.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah,
Cash out while you can.
Right. And then you know what? I'll take a gamble. Give me Notre Dame +7.5.
+7.5. All right. Mark this here. Okay. You're up, Scott.
All right, I'll go Bradley Drake over 128.5.
Okay.
Wright State -9.5.
Okay.
And I'll go New Mexico -3.5 over Utah State.
Oh, okay.
And
Wait,
Louisville
you got -3.5 on that
3.5.
line?
Yep.
Man,
on draft
that's
days. Yeah. And Louisville -7.5 over Notre Dame is my last one.
Look at that. Somebody's gonna win. Somebody's not. Look, I'm gonna go. You know what? Now you got me over here checking my lines because what I got last night did not match that New Mexico game. We're gonna go Cleveland State.
Was
New
Mexico
I had
State
5.5.
Were they?
Yeah, 5.5 is what I had last night.
Let's
So I'm
drop
gonna go
it.
double down.
Yeah.
Cleveland State -3.5 for me. We are gonna go Manhattan at -1.5 now. I had them at 2.5 last night, so we'll go -1.5. UAB at minus. See what they're at now. 7.5. These are way better lines. 7.5. UNI money line. Hopefully that's still worth it. Let's see here. Yep. Oh no, -108. Yep. Okay, good. I do like your New Mexico bet here. Yeah, you know what? We're gonna do it. I like New Mexico as well at -3.5. So there you go.
On DraftKings, Memphis is down 32-28 at halftime. They are now down to -2.5 favorites on DraftKings. Memphis in game.
What do you know? Looks like college men's
What
basketball,
do you know?
Memphis, and I'll take that. Yeah, I'll go ahead and double down.
Yeah.
Thank you, though.
Yeah, I think Memphis is going to come back and win the game, but
I think so too. All right, I just doubled down on that. So, but yeah, that's your locks here for the day for NCAA men's guys. As we start going, so get them in while you can. Great lines compared to what they were last night. So, definitely grab them. Let's switch over here to a little NCAA women's. I gotta create a banner for this one. NCAA women's bets here for the day here. I know we got a couple of games already kicked off. Ole Miss, Tennessee, Wake Forest, Georgia Tech here. But we got a big one coming up here at the noon hour here in about 10 minutes. The UConn South Carolina game here for this one. I was looking a little research here on this last night because the lines weren't dropped yet. But right now it is a -7.5 point favorites for South Carolina at home. UConn, they each have lost one game in the last 5 games. One being Tennessee at Tennessee for UConn, but they've beat St. John's, Providence, Butler, DePaul in the last 5, and then South Carolina beating Florida, Georgia, Auburn at Tennessee, but they lost to freaking Texas. And of course, that was the game I bet on them. Was why would they win a game like that? So. But it was only 66-62. They did start to come back. They kept it close the entire game. The question is, right? 23-3 UConn women's and South Carolina 23-2. South Carolina has kind of their last 2 losses have come in the last couple of weeks, right? How much trust do we go into this this game here that South Carolina is at home and not on the away side?
So I like South Carolina a lot today. Coming off a loss, you're at home, you're playing UConn. I do not like the 7.5. That's a lot of points, and UConn is one of the top 3 or 4 programs in the country. So I'd split my bet. So -325 on the money line's just too much for me to bet. I'm going UConn plus 7.5. I think South Carolina wins the game. I think UConn stays in the game. I think UConn knows this is their last big test of the year against them. They dominate their conference, their Big East. They just totally dominated women's basketball. So they don't have a tough game the rest of the year in conference. But this is the measuring stick for UConn. We just lost to Tennessee, who's a really good basketball team. Now we're playing South Carolina, which is probably the top program in basketball right now, in women's basketball right now. Let's see how we do against them. And again, I took UConn plus 7.5. I just don't like that line for South Carolina at all. But there's a couple other games I put it with today, which was Tennessee and Oklahoma women. But that's what I got. Yeah. So I love South Carolina to win the game. I don't love them on the spread, against the spread. So UConn plus 7.5 for me.
Gotcha. You have anything on this one, Alan?
Yeah, I'm with Scott. South Carolina after that loss to Texas, 101, 10. It was like, I would think it was like 104, 60 something, beat down to Florida at home.
Yeah.
That just shows you how upset they were about that loss. So I don't see South Carolina losing the game the rest of the regular season. I don't. I think UConn's going to keep it close, but I think South Carolina's just too good. They're just too good of a program. They're too good of a team. Don Staley's done a great job with that organization in the last few years. That's why they are the pinnacle of women's college basketball. I don't think South Carolina's losing a game the rest. Probably not. If anything, Probably if they do lose a game, I would think it would be either in the SEC tournament or in the tournament itself. But I don't see that happening because I think they could wind up winning the whole thing again.
Now, I have UConn on plus 7.5. What my hope is with this is that UConn jumps up 8-2, and South Carolina then becomes minus 1.5 plus 1.5. Then I'll bet South Carolina. Then I'll go South Carolina. So this is the end game for me. I'll watch the first half of the first quarter, and if UConn jumps early, I'm all over South Carolina because the spread will be conducive to playing that.
I think I'm right there with you. I mean, stats wise, it kind of favors more UConn, but I think competition wise, that South Carolina's played in the way they do play favors South Carolina in the end. And I think that's kind of what I'm looking at is the level of competition you're facing. Don't get me wrong, I know UConn's going to give it to them, but I think it's definitely a more in-game bet here in the play. Did any of you guys want to lock in anything here for this UConn South Carolina game?
UConn plus 7.5. I'll lock it in.
You're locking it in?
Yeah, UConn plus 7.5.
UConn wins plus 7.5.
Yep.
Got it.
I can see this being a 75-71 type of game.
Yeah, I think it'll be close. I think it'll be close for sure.
Yeah.
Like I said, it just stats wise, average per game is one way, but then again, competition level goes the other way. So I can see that in that range. There's a couple other games out here today. North Carolina State at North Carolina. You have the number 10 versus the number 12. Both one's 20-4, one's 22-4. The last 5 games here, North Carolina State has beaten Miami, Florida State, Duke, Wake Forest, and VTech. And quite looking at it here, looks like 3 of those games are actually pretty close. And that's the games you expect, the Miami, Duke, and Wake Forest game. North Carolina, on the other hand, does have a loss against Florida State by 2. It was a close game in the end back in January 26th, but they haven't really dominated either. I could obviously looking here, there's a lot more points being scored towards North Carolina State right now, but a lot of the stats also are pretty even. Like, one team might score more points, but the other team rebounds better in that range. So line right now is minus 2.5 favorites for North Carolina at North Carolina. Over under 133.5. What do we like, guys? Do we like anything in this matchup?
This is a rivalry game. So I think you throw I think you throw records out of the, again, as I said earlier, you throw records out the window. I don't really have a strong lean on this game simply because of that fact. Again, I'd have to watch it early to see what team is dialed in for 3-point range, maybe dialed in terms of their tempo. So a 133.5 suggests to me that they think these teams are going to get up and down the court at a pretty good pace, which would suggest to me that I might go the over on it, but that's not a lock it in for me at all. There is a game I like later in the day that I'm going to lock in, but this one's not the one for me.
Got you. Alan, any thoughts on this?
Yeah, this one's going to be too close. I thought about it earlier, but taking into the fact that it is a rivalry game, an in-state rivalry game, you got to throw basically everything out the window. You got it because it could go either way. So I'm staying away from it.
Yeah, if anything, I'm leaning more of the over in this matchup of the 133.5 because North Carolina State doesn't play that great a defense. At the same time, I could see the same justification there for the under in that match. So maybe you wait. Maybe you wait till after the first quarter and see where it's trending in that one. So I'm not locking anything in on that one. We also have later tonight Michigan State at UCLA. Both ranked teams. UCLA, we've seen them one-loss team here against USC recently on February 13th, which is just the other day. But Michigan State out here losing to Michigan and Oregon. Look, the line right now, we're at 16.5 point favorites. I think as long as it stays around that 15.5, 16.5, I actually do like UCLA to win by about 18 to 20. I do. And I think I'd take the over on top of that.
What happened the last time UCLA stepped on the court? They lost to USC.
Yeah, at USC.
Poor Michigan State's coming into a buzzsaw, I think. UCLA is going to score 90 points tonight plus. They're mad. UCLA has not been a program that's been in this spot before. I think the players and the coaching staff probably have said to themselves, we need to show that we're not just a one-hit wonder and we're going to start losing games. So I would think UCLA is going to be very, very dialed into this game tonight. I love UCLA at 16.5. I know it's a big number. I just think based on what the last game they played, I don't think Michigan State's and USC's
being at home, coming off a loss, and time to show now why you're the number two.
Yeah, exactly. UCLA is going to put a big number on Michigan State. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind. So I'm with you, Tanner. If it stays here, I'm UCLA, and that's a lock it in for me.
Yeah, UCLA all the way.
Yeah,
that loss is going to fuel a lot of fire in this team. So I like UCLA for sure.
I'm even toying with putting a parlay of USC or a teaser of USC UCLA together because I think USC is in the same boat as UCLA. They just beat UCLA, but they want to show that they're really good. They're a top 5 team in the country. So here comes Paul Washington and play USC. And again, USC.
And they're on the road this time, USC.
Well, they're on the road. That's right. USC is going to Washington. But it's not a long trip for USC. It's right up the West Coast.
But you also got a 4-loss team in the last 5. The only win coming against Penn State. Yeah.
So I might toy with the parlay tonight of USC.
Minus
UCLA.
14.5. Maybe tease UCLA down to 14.5 or like tie it up and just 2 14.5 spreads or something like that.
Yeah, if I'm teasing it, you're gonna get it down to USC minus 8.5 and UCLA minus 10.5.
No, geez.
That's almost a gimme. It's almost a gimme as a teaser.
It's good.
So
idea.
that's exactly what I'm doing. Teasing USC and UCLA tonight.
And then bring TCU and Arizona down to what, 4.5?
Yeah. Actually, no, 2.5. If it's a 6-point teaser, it'd be 2.5. It's 8.5 right now.
Oh, 6 point. Yeah. So you're right. Yeah.
There
you go. And then there you go. Hopefully plus money by then. So, wow, crazy there. We do have LSU and Texas going at it too today.
I was just going to ask you on that.
Yeah.
What is LSU? LSU is underdog by 10.5 to Texas. That's a lot of points for a top 5 team.
I'm doing 2 locks for this game, by the way. I like the over 152 because last time LSU was in a big game like this, like against Oklahoma, they put up both teams put over 200 points. So we know that this team can score. And I also like the plus 9.5 because I think
I'll give you 10.5, dude.
I'll take that. I'll take that plus 10.5. I'll take that. I think it's going to be a really, really close game, and I think it's going to be a high scoring game. So I like the over, and I like the plus 10.5.
If you're teasing LSU, you're getting 6 more points. You're getting 16.5 on a teaser. So why not tease LSU, USC, UCLA, and you like TCU, Tanner? Is that where you lean?
I think TCU has opportunity there. Especially when you get it down to 2.5. I think they win on the road. Arizona.
I was going to say, what would it do if you
college women's games?
I was going to say, what would it do if you threw Oklahoma in that mix? Because I think they're
3.5. You don't want to get into a 5-team teaser. That's a lot. Yeah. But you could do 2 separate teasers. You could put Oklahoma in there where the minus 3.5. I've already picked Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma's going to destroy Missouri. But
they did last time, so.
I would do 2 separate teasers. I would keep TCU, USC, UCLA on one, and then I would tease LSU, Oklahoma on another. And that's the way I would go with it. Because once you get into 5-team teases, that's a lot. I don't like doing that. I can't do that.
So yeah, no, it's crazy. Some of these lines I've noticed betting the last few weeks that it's been nuts from these lines. So all right, guys, let's if you do have it, let's go ahead and lock it in. I know we already got Scott a couple here. Scott, you locked in the UConn plus 7.5, and then you also got UCLA minus 16.5. I heard you say, right?
Yep.
Okay. Do we have anything else you want to put into the locks?
I'm gonna tease this, and I didn't say this. I'm gonna tease USC, UCLA, and UConn, because UConn will get me plus 13.5. 6-point teaser on all three.
Point teaser. Okay.
Yeah. Which is strange for me because I don't do a lot of teasers, but those are just too good to give up, to pass up. So.
Okay, hang on. Let me get this here. So that would be 10.5 for UCLA then?
Yeah. Right. It would be minus 10.5 for UCLA. It would be minus 8.5 for USC, and it would be plus 13.5 for UConn.
Got it. Okay. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. On that one there for Scott. Alan, do you have anything to lock in?
Yep. Oklahoma minus 9. Oklahoma minus 9.5. And then 2 on the LSU Texas game. I like the over 152, and then plus 10.5 for LSU.
Got it. Let's see here. For me, guys, if I'm not gonna lock in too much here. Oops, I did not mean to do that way. Let's try this here. Challenge over here. We'll go the TCU route on this one here. Minus 8.5. I like them today. I think taking care of business there. And then I'm going UCLA minus 16.5 on this one. So that'll be my 2 for the NCAA women's here on this one. Oops. Boom, boom, boom. All right, guys, let's wrap it up here. What do we like outside of basketball today? I know I got some.
By the way, UConn's up 5-2 already. So
there we go.
Mm-hmm. College baseball. So as I said yesterday, you don't do runs over unders this early in the season. You just do basic money line parlays. You take 2 teams that you feel pretty confident in, and you parlay them together, and you get a plus price for them. So this is what I did with the college baseball today. I put Florida State and Cal Santa Barbara, parlayed them together, plus 110. And then the other one I did was Clemson and Oregon State, and I parlayed that together, and that was plus 115. So those are the 2 I did. There was like about 8 teams I liked today, but I wanted to keep it down to two parlays because I didn't want to go crazy on it yet in this early season. But as the season goes on, I'll have 3 parlays every Saturday and every Sunday because that's when the huge college baseball slate. But so that's the thing. 2 teams you want to keep an eye on. Coastal Carolina for baseball. When they play Wednesday games, they're usually pretty dominant. And again, Arkansas. Arkansas is one of the best teams in the country. They just didn't have a line out today. But
they don't even have Florida State on here anymore.
They probably took it down. They had it earlier this morning, and I grabbed it, and then I went back and looked at it, and it was being taken down, put back up, down, up, down, up. DraftKings was just taking it down and up and stuff like that. So,
who was the 2 other teams on your parlay? I know I got Santa Barbara,
and Florida State was one, and the other one was Clemson, and Oregon State was the other.
Clemson, Oregon State, gotcha.
Yeah. Florida State may have started already. That may be why it's down. That game may have started. Once these games start, sometimes they just take them down.
Yeah, that's not even available. Like I see Arizona, Louisville started. So yeah.
The other thing I do is I look at money lines, and if it's right around minus 200 and above, minus 200 to minus 300, that's a team I want to look at a little bit closer to put in a parlay. I know minus 200 is not a great betting thing on its own, but if you parlay them with somebody else, it makes it plus money, was what I did.
Gotcha.
So
did you want to lock in anything for college baseball?
lock in those two. Lock in the
okay.
lock in the Clemson Oregon State one. The Florida State one will keep off because they've already started. So you probably not going to find it.
Got it.
And then why don't we parlay together? Or why don't we just do a straight bet? Stanford and Cal State Fullerton over 11.5 runs. I'll throw an over under in today too. See if that comes in.
Got it. Okay. All right. I got that noted here. Alan, do you have anything you heard for college baseball?
Yes, actually. I'm going to do the double money line parlay too. I'm going to go Vanderbilt and Texas money line. I know Texas is playing Oklahoma State, and Oklahoma State's a pretty good baseball team, but I like Texas.
Alan, are you okay, Texas? What's the matter with you?
I died a little on the inside, Scott, just now, but it's two teams I very much detest. You know, I hate the color orange, but
Texas is a good baseball team.
Vanderbilt, Texas money line parlay, and I'm also going to go Oklahoma State, Texas under 13.5 runs.
Yeah, that's a lot of runs this early in the year. I
That is a lot of runs.
I might have to go back in and bet that. That is a ton.
Okay,
these are two pretty good. These are two pretty good teams, though. I think that's why they're thinking that.
Yeah, here's the thing about college baseball. So I gave you Cal Santa Barbara earlier. I didn't lock it in, but I gave it to you. Everybody's like, "What the heck are you picking?" Because they're really good at baseball. They can hit. They can pitch. They're really good. So again, small schools sometimes are better.
They only lost 3 games last year.
Yeah, they're really good.
Like 7th, 8th, or 6th, or something like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So this early in the year, you're going to find strange results. As the warmer weather comes in, as everybody knows, that's when you're going to find the stabilization of this. So.
All right. Yeah. I don't have any baseball bets.
Tied at 9, by the way, between both UConn and South Carolina right now.
Nice. I do. Buffoon Mike, who does follow NASCAR, he sent me some bets, and I'll give him a shout out here for that.
Today's the Daytona, right?
Yeah. So he has he says top 3. Finish top 3 or 5. You can go Joey Logano, Kyle Larson, William Byron, and Christopher Bell. All options for he believes top 3, top 5 finishes there.
Oh, by the way, thanks Team Canada for laying down last night. Really appreciate that.
And Sweden too, man.
Sweden, I know. What the heck happened? Come on.
Hey, USA.
I know. Team USA clinched the title game with that win last night, which is great. So
it's huge.
That big fight in the middle of it too.
Yeah, it was.
It's going to be Canada USA again for the title. So
it will be. For sure. So, all right, guys. I think we've hit everything we can that I can think of. So, but make sure you guys like, subscribe, follow. We'll be back next Saturday. We'll have, I'm sure, another monster slate of NCAA men's games. I mean, maybe we'll get the women's involved here if we have time. I'm sure something UFC wise. Races are picking up. Golf is going on. There's a lot of crap going on. By the way, Scott, are you betting Scheffler top 3? He was like what 5th or 6th or something like that going in today.
Yeah. Scheffler's around there. I'm betting it. So
okay,
I gotta go in.
Hey, there's baseball going on now. There's tons of stuff here, right? NBA will be picked back up. NHL will be picked back up. NHL continues on Saturday next week, so I'm sure we'll have some bets there. But it's what it is. It's that season, man, where everything's going on, and then come July, nothing's coming on. Baseball, and that's about it. So
this is
the same afterwards.
This is a great March Madness is coming. Conference tournaments are coming. I mean, there's going to be a ton of stuff out there, even more so than now. So,
agreed. There's a lot going on. So make sure you guys like, subscribe, follow. Go follow us at the Rec Room Sports Hub. Go find Lock It In playlist. Go check out the Rec Room Weekly on Tuesday nights. Go check on In the Hoop next Friday night as well. I know they're going to be talking post All-Star break and getting ready for second half of the season for the NBA side, along with some WNBA talk and NCAA
Okay.
talk as well. So,
Okay, see.
hey,
Best team in the NBA, baby. Let's go. Come on now.
record wise. Anyways,
you're the only thing I have. You're the only thing I have. The only thing I have right now.
You know, I was watching the KU game last night, the horrendous game it was, and like they were talking about Sports Center coming up, and they were talking like, you know, Auburn, Alabama. They were talking something else, and then of course the third freaking slate on there is Cowboys offseason. I'm like, what the hell? Like, are you guys that bored during this whole entire period that we
apparently
have to
apparently so
pretty much. Yeah,
they never learned. That they say all these things about what they should do, what's going to happen. They have not learned the last 5 years. Jerry is not going to do it. He is not.
Jerry's not going to do it, and it shouldn't be in discussion in what are we now? February?
There is a good chance they could bottom out in the division this year and try to go for Arch Manning.
I already told you
that they could do that.
So, all right,
Tanner,
we're out of here.
This morning a Cincinnati Bengals preview for next season. This morning already.
Yeah. What's that? Which one is it? What did they say?
They said the Bengals are going to finish 10-7, and they're going to re-sign T. Higgins. That was what they said.
They stink. They're going to be tied with the Cleveland Browns for last place. All right, we'll catch you guys next Saturday. We're out. See you guys.
Goodbye.